Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Bearded Respect number 143. Woo! Jason, you want to welcome some of these fine people into the chat?
We have Santa Tom. He's first on my list, anyway.
What's up, Santa Tom? Thanks for stopping in.
And we got Whiskers and Whiskey.
Jim, what's up?
Sorry. Wrong button.
And we got John Foxy.
What's up, John?
I don't think I've ever even used that button before.
Hey, Steven, Bearded Chief in the house.
Hey.
What's up, Chief? That's like from The Price is Right.
Yep. There's Amber. She beat Kevin this week. I'm keeping track, you know.
What's up, Amber?
Hey, Brad. Good to see you.
How you doing, Brad?
What's up, Brad?
Black Manor Grooming.
Black Manor.
Welcome.
Randy R. Hey, Randy.
What's up, Randy?
How you doing, Randy?
JP. Hey, JP.
What's up, JP?
There he is. Hey, Kevin.
Hey,
No way.
What's up, Kevin?
Kev.
Oh, excuse me. There's Dino Life and Living Channel. Hey,
Dino.
I will send you to Jesus.
Hey, Jeffrey. Happy Thursday. Hey, Tony Spray Ray.
Hey,
What's up, Ray?
Hey, brother.
Nice. Nice, Jeffrey.
What's up, Jeffrey? I thought Jason was frozen for a moment.
Oh,
it's beginning
sorry.
to wonder.
Or I was frozen.
I was reading it before.
I know you weren't frozen because I could see your eyes moving.
Hey, babysitter Jess.
Jessica,
Hey,
what's
Jessica.
up?
When I saw that earlier, I thought it was Jessica Rabbit.
Could be.
Hey, Garrett.
What's up,
How you
Garrett?
doing?
Thanks for stopping in.
There she is. Miss Becky.
Hello, Becky.
What's up,
Hello,
Becky?
Becky.
Hi, honey.
I'm still not frozen. Hey, Michael.
How you
Happy
doing?
Thursday.
What's up, Romy?
Hey, James.
Hello.
What's up, James?
Welcome to the show. I think.
I think so too. Hey, Bearded Zebra. Long time no see. Good to
How you
see you,
doing?
buddy.
Thanks for joining us.
What's up, Zebra?
Hey, Toll Booth Willie.
How you doing, Willie?
Lily.
Hello.
Yeah. Yep, that was Price is Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Hey, Dynamite.
How you doing?
Tyler, what's up, man?
Hey, Papa Wood.
Papa
Thanks
Wood.
for joining us.
How you doing?
Hello.
Cervantes. Hey, Jesse.
How you doing?
What's up, man?
Hello, neighbor.
Hey, Jacob. Good to see you.
What's up, Jacob?
Jacob?
Maybe I am insane. Maybe I am insane. And maybe it's time for you to find out.
And I'm caught up. Oh,
You sure?
spoke too soon. Not Melissa just popped in.
Oh,
Hello,
Melissa.
Melissa.
hey, Melissa. Good show that you got there.
Say hello to my little friend.
Zebra's dropping fall stuff, working on other things. Cool.
That is cool.
That's the Beard Mana, right?
Yes, Beard Mana.
Beard Mana. Well, before we bring our guest in, can I share my
Go right ahead.
most
Yes.
recent
Yeah.
weekend? I think the easiest way is just to kind of share my Instagram post for those that don't have IG or Facebook. Last weekend, I went to the Minnesota Bearded and Mustache Coalition Land of 10,000 Whiskers Beard Competition up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was my first time in Minneapolis, and I was very surprised at how nice the city is. Very cool town. I definitely want to go back and explore more.
Yeah, it's interesting there.
Yeah, I was telling people it's like a well-hidden secret in America. It's Minneapolis. It seemed like really nice. But yeah, so that I got there. Well, last week, I was on the show kind of in and out driving there. I did stop for the night, pulled over for the night in Kearney, Nebraska, and then drove the remaining 8 hours. Yeah.
How many 11ths was Kearney, Nebraska?
Oh, that was like 4 or 5.
Okay.
And then I drove the remaining 8 hours to Minneapolis. The drive was great up until the last 50 miles on Interstate 35. There was construction and traffic was backed way up. But other than that, got to the hotel, went out to meet and greet before the competition at a local brewery. And then the next day was the competition. So that's the stage right there. That's the president, Aaron Berg, behind me above my shoulder there. He's the president of the Minnesota Beard and Mustache Coalition. But here's like it's called the Bauhaus Brewery. And this is like an outdoor patio. It's like an old warehouse type place. But it was a beautiful day. It was like perfect weather. And this is just my category. There were 6 of us. And as you can see, all great beards there.
Now, was that 8 and over? Is that what that?
Yeah, 8
category
inches
was?
and over.
Wow, that's
So they
yeah.
had under 4 inches, 4 to 8, and 8 and over. So I think they did it this way because it's their first competition. So I think they just kind of figured it'd be low numbers competing. Most of the categories had like either 3 or 4 contestants, and ours was the largest with 6. So, so I believe, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 of these guys are from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And one guy here in blue, he is from Minneapolis. And then there's me from Wyoming. So,
does that guy's shirt have a beard?
Yeah, he made that himself.
Yep,
he made that himself. He made a bearded pumpkin on his t-shirt. And he told me that he usually does like creative beard, like freestyle beard, but he decided to just go with the shirt today and just let the beard out. So but I've met all these guys before at the Sioux Falls and or Nationals or Detroit. The guy in blue here, this is Kyle. Him and I have been in the same category for 3 competitions in a row. And we always finish close to each other. So yeah, so here is Jason. He's got the creative beard there. He was in his own category. He was the only one that did their beard creative style. But I won first place in that category, and I also won the best in show, which is that paddle, beautiful paddle, which was actually made by the guy here with the hat, with the brown hat. He actually made that paddle.
So now you can go canoeing?
Now I can go canoeing in Minnesota because of all the But yeah, very cool. Dino did a little interview with me on his YouTube channel. It was really cool to see Dino there. Dino won 3rd place in his category. And then here's Tim and Aaron. They're like kind of like board members of the Minnesota club. This picture is actually of us in Detroit. I didn't get a picture of us in Minnesota. And then here's Jason with his amazing beard. He's second place in Worlds at the last Worlds with this beard design. And then there's Dino. The guy on the left here, he's a Minnesota club member. And then the guy on the right here, he's actually from Green Bay. He drove up from Green Bay to be in the contest. And then the guy here in the middle won second place. This is Scott, I believe his name is. He is the president of the Renegades Minnesota Club. The guy on the left here with the very small beard scruff, he's kept it at that length for like 20 years, he says.
Wow. That's a lot of work.
And he won first place. There's this guy, if you recognize him.
I know this guy.
Yeah. He's a farmer in Minnesota. And I was lucky enough to catch him on a day off. But I got to visit his farm. Cool. And then if you recognize this guy, he's an old G from the Bearded Regard, if you remember that name. But here's Casey, bushy beard, Casey. Also a big part of Copper John's beard. And that's it.
Very cool.
But I appreciate everyone's love for me, on IG and Facebook, congratulating me. It was really cool. I was shocked. So
Okay. I'm not caught up yet. I didn't want to pass this up because I don't want to acknowledge her.
Hello, murderer.
What's up, Tara?
Yes, I'll try and remember that for next time.
Hey, brother.
Here.
Hey, brother.
Hey, brother.
See if anybody else stopped in.
Everybody, just don't forget November 21st, we're doing a charity event. And any companies that want to be involved in our charity event, just reach out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got lots of people already donating.
Nice.
Still got some more to reach out to yet, but
And I will be putting out a post tomorrow about the our donation page. Because when we auction off the stuff, we're going to use that page, and that way we don't even have to worry about the money, as long as it's going straight to Zero Prostate through this
nice
page I set up. So
nice.
We don't have to worry about getting that money to them. It'll just
that's awesome.
Automatically go there, and it'll automatically be logged as the Bearded Respects team. So
very cool.
Was able to set that up, and we also will have a page on Facebook that you can donate to as well. But I will be taking care of getting that all out on the socials tomorrow.
Very cool. That'll make it so much easier.
Tara's going to donate a toodle? What's a toodle?
It's a Tara doodle.
Oh, okay.
It's a doodle done by Tara.
Okay, cool. And I know True North has their big Halloween drop this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Can you guys help me out? I don't know who James is with here.
I think I think James might be with small town traditions.
Yeah, small town
Okay.
traditions. Okay.
I might be
Okay, I'll
wrong.
jot that down.
Just looking at his picture, I think that's who it might be.
If that is, I'll jot them down to make sure I reach out. Appreciate that.
Very cool. Jeffrey says he wants a Terradoodle.
Yeah,
Small town
Yeah.
traditions.
If they confirm.
yeah,
We'll,
yeah.
Thanks, James.
Okay.
Appreciate
we'll
it.
make sure
Yeah,
to
thanks.
reach out and take care of that. We appreciate it. We appreciate all the companies that donated. We're just trying to give back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of the stuff we wanted to do with this platform. A portion of it was to try and take care of helping out charity-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So we're pretty excited about that. And on November 14th, we will be having Paul Kennedy on. We'll be talking about his prostate cancer journey.
Yep. And if you guys know Paul Kennedy, or even if you don't, keep him in your thoughts and prayers. He just lost his brother today to cancer.
Yeah, definitely.
What's up, frickin' frack? You're just in time.
And so we're ready for our guests then?
Yeah. Yeah. Better get him on before Christmas gets here. What's up, Dino?
What's happening, fellas? How you doing tonight?
Welcome to the Bearded Respect.
Doing great. That's quite a collection you got behind you.
Yeah, I got a little bit of an addictive personality. I kind of went down the rabbit hole with all the beard oils.
Oh, we've pretty much everyone here has been there.
Right. Easy to do, right?
Oh, thanks, Jacob. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Jacob.
it.
Horseshoe coasters. Interesting.
Yeah. I'll write that down, Jacob. Thank you.
Well, Dino, on our show, we kind of jump into 5 questions to break the ice.
Sure.
So we will let Scott play his little. All right, Dino, tell us your favorite toy as a child. What was that one toy that you always played with?
You know, the one I always went to, I was lucky enough, I got a Matchbox edition Voltron, the big one with the 5 lions. So I always found myself going to that. It was either that or Transformers, but man, the Voltron, I was a big Voltron fan, and it just kind of had like, I always went to it, always. And I always loved the Black Lion. I always remember growing up watching that cartoon and the Black Lion, and the Black Lion was my thing. I love Voltron.
Nice. Nice. I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay.
I watched the cartoon as a kid.
Yeah.
I remember those things.
Yeah. So, Dino, tell us about your kind of give us an idea about your background, like what makes you Dino
Sure.
Propa's Tactical Santa.
Sure. So I grew up just outside of Detroit, Michigan. My parents owned a Greek restaurant. Got out of high school, decided the fire department was actually like literally 2 buildings away from my parents' restaurant. So I was like, you know what? I always had a thing with that. So I joined the volunteer fire department, got involved, became a firefighter, went and got my fire science degree, was an EMT for a while. The only problem is when I kind of got into it, that was when that big the movie came out with Kurt Russell and all that. Everybody wanted to be a firefighter, right? So
Was that Backdraft?
yes, Backdraft. So
Yeah.
everybody wanted to be a firefighter,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
where I was at, one opening would open up and you would have 1,000 people applying,
geez.
So I kind of stood back for a little bit and said, okay, there's got to be something else I want to do. I came across, I believe it was on the internet at the time, I came across a school in Aspen, Colorado called Executive Security International. And what they do is they certify protection specialists. So I was like, wow, maybe bodyguarding might be a thing. Maybe I should get into that. So I decided, you know what, let's go do this. So I went to the bodyguard school out there, got through that. Once I got through that, I was like, everybody has got those certs. Why don't I do something else too? So I went to the Bondurant driving school, took their executive protection driving school. So did that for a while. I was actually on and off bodyguarding for about 20, 25 years. I ended up, because bodyguarding is kind of not stable work unless you can get picked up by a client. I did a lot of local protection work, but then I ran into the issue of when I was into it and doing it, I wanted to do rock bands and be around rock stars and celebrities. I was like, I don't want to, I don't want to deal with suit and tie type guys. But the only problem is when I got into it doing it, if you weren't 6'5" and weighing 380 pounds, you didn't get picked up to go on tour because I didn't have the intimidation factor.
Right.
But a lot of times I got picked up local because I was a driver. I had the driving cert, so I was the local guy. I knew the area, and plus I had a concealed pistol license. I was able to carry a firearm, so I was pretty much the hired gun on the crew when they come into town. So I did that for a long time, and then that kind of became, the work just wasn't there. I was bouncing more at nightclubs, and I'm like, man, I got to find something. Started working at a gun store, and I'm like, yeah, I know guns, whatever. I can go work at a gun store. I started working at a gun store, and then a guy that was an instructor kept coming in. He kind of friended me. Started talking to him, and he's like, you would make a really good firearms instructor. And I laughed at him. I'm like, dude, there ain't no way I'm becoming a firearms instructor. I don't have the patience. I don't want to do that. You're crazy. And he looked at me and he goes, I'll tell you what. And he like was on me for like 3-4 months, and he's like, I'll tell you what, I'll pay. You go take the class. You become an instructor. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. I know how much it costs to get certified. I'm like, well, you know what? Sure. So I went and became an instructor. I was lucky enough. This guy was an awesome mentor. He mentored me. I did classes with him for about 4 months, 5 months. And I was like, wow, I really do like this. So I just started growing after that. I was an NRA instructor first. And then there was an organization, I'm sure you guys have heard of them, called United States Concealed Carry Association. I then became an instructor for them. And then about 4 months after that, they were looking for training counselors. So what a training counselor can do is you are a train the trainer. I can certify instructors, but I actually had to, it was quite a process. You had to write a like a 3-page long reason on why you want to become a training counselor and what would benefit USCCA by you being one. So I was actually I got selected, which I didn't think I was going to, but I got selected. Went out, got certified. I was part of the first 100 training counselors in the whole country for USCCA. So ever since then, I've just been training people. That was 16 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah, so I've been doing that. I really started coming out of my shell about a couple of years ago. Started getting out and being more involved in the community, doing more things, and got nicknamed the Tactical Santa because I didn't always have this beard. For a long time, about 6-7 years ago, my parents decided that the restaurant business wasn't for them anymore, and they're like, "What can we do with this place?" So, believe it or not, we changed the place into a cookie dough and ice cream bar. It's called Dino's Cookie Dough bar, so I was doing cookie dough and ice cream for a while. I couldn't have the beard. I couldn't be scooping ice cream. So I had a long beard for a while, then I had to shave it off. But I had no idea about when I grew my first long beard. I had no idea about beard oil, beard butter, beard product. Nothing. I had no idea. It was just kind of like this mangy long beard I had, and I was like, well, you just wash it with shampoo and away you go. I had no idea. So, but then, COVID kind of hit, and that was really bad for anybody in the food service industry, because everything slowed down. We actually got forced to shut down. I think we were shut down for 7 months. We couldn't open, and everything kind of went crazy in that industry. I went back to the gun store. My parents were like, you know what, just go teach. You're good at teaching, if you can do that. So I went back to that, and then I got health insurance at that place. My mom's like, your dad has heart problems. You should probably go get checked. I said, well, I don't have heart problems. She goes, you should probably go get checked. So I said, okay. I went to the cardiologist. He's like, let's give you a stress test. Went in, got a stress test, and they looked at me and they said, yeah, you need to go get cath. There's something not right. You need to go get cath.
How
So
old
I'm
were
like,
you?
I was 40 to 49. No, 48. So they tell me when I go get cath, they're like, hey, if there's anything wrong, we'll just put some stents in you and you'll be all good, So I'm like, all right. So I'm awake during this process. They do it, and I'm like, okay, they didn't do anything. I must be really good. Everything's really good. I get out of that. The doctor comes over to me, and I'm like, well, everything's good, right? You didn't have to put stents in. He's like, no. He goes, you got the widowmaker vein. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you got the widowmaker. And he goes, it looks like you got two that are, So I'm like, all right, what do I need to do? And he goes, well, you got to go talk to a surgeon. So I went and talked to the heart surgeon. And, typical me, I had like 3 or 4 firearms classes in the next month, So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, oh, you got the widowmaker, this and that. I'm like, all right, how about can I put it off for like a month and a half, 2 months? And he looks at me and he goes, you sure can, but I can't guarantee you're going to be alive. And I'm like,
Right.
oh, okay.
For those that
So,
don't know, a widowmaker
Right.
heart attack is like sudden death.
boom, boom,
Like
down.
there's no warning, there's no like
Right.
pre-symptoms. It's just boom, cardiac
Right.
arrest, and you're
Right.
lucky to survive.
And
Right.
normally when they tell you that, you're heading to surgery.
Right. So, the good thing was, so I looked at him like, all right, whatever I got to do. He goes, listen, you got to go get 2 tests done. Once you get the test, we're scheduling you up, So I went and got the test done. The good thing was everybody I talked to when I went and got the test were like, who's your surgeon? And I told them, like, oh yeah, that guy's the best. He did his fellowship down at in Ohio at the big clinic, that everybody that's really renowned that does, Cleveland Clinic. And I was like, man, that made me feel really good. This guy is like top notch. He was awesome. But it went from having that done to actually have an open heart in less than 2 weeks. So, and it was funny because I have a big tattoo across my chest, and he's looking at me. He goes, don't worry. He goes, when I put you back together, he goes, I'll make sure your tattoo lines up right. And I'm looking at him like, man, I just want to make sure that I'm alive, right? Like, I don't care, And he's like, no. He goes, I'm gonna take my time, So I'm like, okay. So he went in, he did his thing, and I remember right before they put me out, they're like, listen, when you wake back up after the surgery, you're probably gonna have tubes in your mouth. Don't try to pull the tubes out. We'll take them out. We'll get you all straightened away. So I go off, they put me out. I don't remember anything. When I get back to my room, I wake up and I don't have tubes in my mouth, right? And I'm looking over at my mom. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Why didn't they do surgery on me? And she's just looking at me like, what? And I'm like, why didn't they do the surgery? And she goes, you were gone for 8.5 hours. Like, they did the surgery on you, So I don't remember anything. My surgeon was awesome. He put a titanium plate in me instead of doing the wire. He's like, you're kind of a big guy, you got a big chest. He goes, I'm going to put the plate that way you won't be hurting when you recover. And he really did a good job. And it was funny because the nurse looked at me and she goes, you were in there 8.5 hours. He took his time lining everything back up, and it's crazy because he lined my tattoo up. But he looked at me when I was coming out of it. He talked to me the next couple of days. He goes, listen, he goes, you know how we said we were going to do 2 or 3? I'm like, yeah. He goes, no. He goes, I did 5. He goes, you got 5 bypasses. And I'm like, oh. And he goes, the reason I did it is because you're young and you're strong. He goes, I'd rather do it now, get them out of the way, than when you're older having problems. So they did 5 bypasses on me, and I'm like the $6 million man now. So,
Wow.
but yeah, but that's
But
the reason I grew my beard out. I was like, you know what? I'm not shaving. I'm growing my beard out because I was on blood thinners, and I was like, I don't want to take risks of like cut myself when I shave.
There you go. Yeah.
So I just decided to grow it out, and it stuck. I'm like, yep, there we go. Yep.
now when I was 35, I had stint put in,
Hmm.
and then my brother, he's 2 years younger than me, but it's been a couple years. He was
Hmm.
not feeling good, and it runs
Right.
in our family. Our
Sure.
grandfather, he had 4 heart attacks. My mom
Hmm.
and dad both had open heart surgeries. They had
Sure.
bypasses. But my brother, he went in, stress test,
Right.
took him to the cath lab, and hey Corey, and same thing. And the thing
Right.
was, is he was in shape too. He
Right.
was eating good, and it was just the genetics. But his
Sure.
was a widowmaker too.
Right.
But they put a stent in him. They didn't
Hmm.
bypass on him.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. They just told me like, you know what, we're going to open you up. We're going to do it. And I'm like, you know what? I got to do it while I'm young, because I'll tell you, if I would have had to have gone through what I went through, if I would have been like 60, 65, yeah, it wouldn't have been fun. At least I was young enough I was strong enough to recover. I can't imagine having to go through everything that I did if I would have been a lot older. Yeah. So I'm actually glad they did it and got it over with.
Yeah, I was actually lucky. I had a bad stress test, and then I had the catheterization, and then the doctor got in there and he said, "There's nothing wrong with your veins. They're clean as
Right.
can be. I don't know what you're doing here." I'm like,
Right.
"Well, at 50, that's good to hear."
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
I mean, you eat burgers and stuff most of your life. You expect to have some
Sure.
problems. So I was like,
Sure.
I thought the
You
doctor
know,
was crazy.
right. And that's one thing the doctor looked at me. He told me, the surgeon told me, he goes, man, he goes, I did everything I can. He goes, I got you. You're all new. He goes, as long as you do what you're supposed to do, you'll never see me again. And he goes, if you end up seeing me again, he goes, I don't know how much I can do for you. So I was weighing almost 300 pounds when I had that done. I'm down to 220 now. So I,
Oh,
I really, I really watch the diet, because I'm like, if it's simple and all you gotta do is watch my diet, what I eat, I'd rather do that and be alive than taking some chances with, ending up on the table again. So yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Life
Wow.
changing.
Definitely.
Yep.
So thank goodness for your mom
Right.
telling you
Right.
go get checked out, right? Because like
Right. Right.
you wouldn't have.
Yep. No, I wouldn't have. I'm kind of, before all this happened, I was kind of stubborn. I never went to doctors. I'm like, I feel good. I don't need to go to doctors. But now
Right.
I'm like, man, when she looks at me, if she ever looks at me again, and says, hey, you need, I'm like, yep, I'm going. I'm not arguing. You know.
Yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Amazing.
it's great.
Hmm.
So now that you had the heart surgery, decided to grow
Hmm.
your beard back out.
Hmm.
How long has this current beard been going?
This is going on, I believe, right about 18 months. 18
Okay.
months. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And what is your beard routine? Like, what is your beard care routine, I should say?
Sure. So working at a gun store and working on a range, my routine is I shower 2 times a day. I shower once when I get up in the morning, and then when I come home, I shower because I want to get that lead off me. Because working in a range, you're going to get lead on you, and I don't want it. I don't want it on me. I don't want it on my clothes. I don't want to get it on my, people that I know. So I would do that. In the morning, I get up, I take the shower. Right now I've got like a rotation of like four different beard washes. The one that I really dig right now, and it'll be coming out tomorrow. Florida Boys Grooming is dropping wash and conditioner, and I gotta tell you, man, his stuff is on point, man. His conditioner's on a different level. But I really use his. I use Hemp Wizard. I use Valhalla, and I've been dabbling some with Mountain State Grooming. So I'm trying to give everybody a little bit of a chance, see what their stuff is. But wash the beard, get out. I blow dry the beard a little bit just to get most of the water off, and then I'll put an oil in, let it sit for a couple minutes, and then I use I've been using the Florida Boys Gator Milk, the liquid butter. So I use oil and butter. A lot of people don't use both in the morning, but I do. I put that butter in, get it going. I use a blow dryer brush.
Okay.
It's pretty cool. I use that. I style it, and then away I go. I don't reapply oil or butter during the day. I know a lot of people reapply oil, but my thing is that working where I do, and and maybe having to go out on the range and be out there long, I just don't want to add any more lead into it. So I just apply it one time a day, and that's it. Yeah.
And then at night when you shower, do you do the same, or do you just
So
stick with butter? Or
believe it or not, I don't, and I got to start putting stuff in. I usually don't put nothing in the beard after the shower at nighttime. I just kind of let it go.
Yeah.
And then in the morning I wash, and then I apply in the morning. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So mine's a little bit different than a lot of people, but it works for me.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep. It's those good Spartan genes, the good Greek Spartan genes,
Yeah.
I got a bad heart, but I got some hair.
Yeah. Now, was your beard black before, like with black hair, or brown?
Yeah, so I have black hair.
Okay.
The crazy thing is even when I originally drew my first beard out, it was never black. I started growing beards and stuff were never really like where I'm at. It was never really like a cool thing, right? People weren't growing them, and and being on the fire department where I was, we kept it clean. The most I had a long goatee at one point, but it had, I started going gray pretty early, so I never really got to see like a black beard. It went pretty quick.
Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So in the past year or so, you've kind of like developed this internet brand of yourself.
Sure.
Tell us more about that. Like, what is your goals with your brand?
Sure.
What are you doing?
So the way it comes out is so the reason I originally started the Tactical Santa, at work I was working with a guy, and it was funny because I started growing the beard out, and he looked at me and he goes, what are you trying to be? Trying to be like Santa? I'm like, I don't know, man. Beards are kind of cool. I'm gonna grow it out. And he goes, you're the Tactical Santa, and it just stuck, right? I was like, that's kind of cool, whatever, Tactical Santa sounds cool. And the other reason I kind of went with it is because in the firearms industry, the instructor industry, right? If you don't kind of separate yourself and kind of make a brand for yourself, you kind of blend with everybody else, you know? And the cool thing about Tactical Santa is the way I looked at it, I'm like, who doesn't like Santa, right? Santa's like a cool guy, who's going to look at you and be like, oh, that Santa guy, So I kind of ran with it. I was like, I was just like telling people, hey, I'm the Tactical Santa, and people were like responding to it pretty cool. And then it's really started picking up a little bit. And then I ran into Mike Wiseman, actually the Hemp Wizard. So a little backstory on that. Matt Hill was like the first company owner I talked to. Him and I started talking, and then I was like, okay, that's cool. He makes this, but I'm like, okay, now I need to find wash or something, And then I was like, oh, his buddy, Mike Wiseman, the Hemp Wizard makes that. So I started buying stuff from him, and I started messaging him and talking to him. And I had made a Facebook page called Bearded Firearms Instructors. And Mike was like, hey, I gotta, I can make you, I'm like, you can make me a logo? He goes, yeah. So we made a logo for that page, right? And then him and I started talking. I'm like, hey, Mike, I'm like, could you make a Tactical Santa logo? Kind of like you did that one. He goes, yeah, man, not a problem. And like 5 minutes later, there it is, right? So I was like, man, that's really cool, So I was kind of like fired up. I'm like, this is awesome, right? Not only do I have the name picked out, now I got a logo,
Yeah.
And so my other guy that I train with, that we have a company called Make It Home Training Solutions. His name is Aaron Cobb, and he goes by Big Cobb Diesel. I don't know if you guys have seen any of my videos that he's in, but he looks like The Rock. He's a little bit older than The Rock, so I call him the Boulder. But this guy is just an awesome, but he's a humble, awesome dude. So we're like, that's kind of cool. You got your thing, Cobb Diesel, and I got the Tactical Santa. So the really cool thing about it is people, whether it's beard product or whether it's firearms instruction, people are buying personality, right? They want to come, like in my stuff. People want to come train with somebody who's a personable type of guy, who's going to teach you the skill sets. You're not going to come to one of my classes and I'm not going to drill and sergeant, drill you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm that guy. It's like, hey, let's work on this. Let's make you better.
You have them sit on your lap and you teach.
Right. Sure. but
kidding.
it's one of those things that, like, so I get guys that train, and I respect military, and, in the military, they do things a certain way because that's just how it has to be. Right.
Hmm.
In the civilian side, when you're talking about people who have never dealt with anything like that, you have to do a different approach, right? You have to be personable with them. You have to let them know, hey, you're spending your hard-earned money to come take one of my classes. I want to make sure that you leave with the skill set that you came to learn. Let's make this happen for you because today is all about you. It's not about me getting up there, being a drill instructor, making you feel bad, yelling at you, whatever, because at the end of the day, I want to build your confidence up. You know what I mean? I want you to feel confident. I want you to come take more classes, but I want you to get what you paid for. I want those skill sets to come to you. So our approach is a little bit different than a lot of people, but we get a lot of repeat people come to the same classes because they want to keep on learning. So, and that was the great thing about the Tactical Santa. I do events. I do charity. Well, there's a couple events that we donate our time to. One is called the Late Event, the Legally Armed in Detroit. And what that is it's an event where the ladies have to schedule it, but it's 2 days long and it's free for women. And they come in and there's a classroom portion, and then they come out on the range and there's an instructor in each lane and we train them. They get to shoot like 10, 15 shots, but it's more of an experience to get women used to shooting, right? This past year, we taught 1,700 women in 2 days,
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
it's a really cool thing that we do. And the greatest thing in the world is I always get these women that come up and they kind of look at me, and I got the long beard, and we're talking, most of them are from the urban set area, and they look at me and they're looking at me kind of weird. I'm like, hey, my name's Dino. I'm the Tactical Santa. And they're like, you're who? I'm like, the Tactical Santa, right? So it kind of like makes them feel at ease, and then we get into the shooting. And then I got a business card that has the Tactical Santa logo on the back, and I look at them like, hey, you can actually say you got trained by the Tactical Santa.
Mm-hmm.
And, everybody, it's a really cool thing. And, so we do a lot of that. We go out and we donate our time to help do functions like that,
Awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
So has anyone scheduled with you and expected you to be in a red suit teaching them? Or do you wear a red suit when you do your instructions?
I haven't, but I was actually talking to my other guys, Aaron Cobb and my other partner Ronnie Z, and I'm like, what we got to do? Come close to Christmas time, I need to get like a bad Santa outfit, the black and white Santa Claus suit. And I'm like, we should do a CPL class and I'll dress up like that. And you two can dress up as elves, and they're dying laughing like, we'll do it, so
right.
I don't know, maybe we might do something like that. Who knows? But, it's always fun. I have another buddy of mine that owns an anime store, and he puts on big, those conventions that have anime. And he's like, hey, he's talking to me a couple of weeks ago. He goes, hey, I got a guy who makes costumes. I'm putting on this convention. The main character, I don't know anime very well, so I might be mistaken, but this main character, they wear cherry blossom pattern stuff, right? So I'm like, okay. And he goes, if I have this costume designer make you a Tactical Santa cherry blossom costume, would you wear it? I'm like, sure, I don't care. I'm like, what do you want me to do? He goes, just walk around the convention and be Tactical Santa. I'm like, okay, I can do that. So I don't know. I might be doing that. But yeah, it's just, but it's fun, it's a lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun being the Tactical Santa. People dig it, so that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. That's a good idea. Black and white Santa outfit and have your assistants like all tactical elves, like
Right.
it's a great
Right.
idea.
Now, are you still in the Detroit area, or?
Yes, I'm actually about 20 miles north of Detroit. I live in a suburb called Rochester. So yeah, I'm right north of Detroit. Mhm.
Did you go to the Great American Beard
So
Competition?
I was going to. The problem is that fell on the same day that a girl that I work with was her wedding reception,
Oh,
and I could not get out of it. Man, I'm sitting there, I'm like, of all the days, because I'm like, it's right down there. And then I was trying to figure out if I could get down there and then make it back up there, and I'm like, man, I
yeah.
can't make it. I wanted to so bad because I'm like, I knew like you were going to be there and some other people were going to be there. I had just made friends with I always get his last name mixed up, but his name's Mitch. I think he works for the Viking Beard Company or
Oh,
something.
Mitch with the beard, Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was like, dang, he's going to be there. A couple other guys
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, man, if I could be there, and it sucks because like I said, I'm 20 miles away, right? But I can't
Right.
make it because I have to be at this wedding thing,
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, dang, yeah.
I'm
But I
sure
would have
she
loved to make it.
appreciated it.
Right.
I'm sure she appreciated you being there.
Right. Yep.
Sakura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyone in the chat have questions for Tactical Santa? I do have another question. How many bottles of beard oil do you have behind you?
I probably, what's funny is I have this app. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's called I Collect, and you can make, if you get it, it's a really slick app because I use it for beard products. I use it for Dixon flannels, and I use it for retro rifle shirts. Right, so you can put in there what you have, and it keeps a running tally. I kind of stopped putting in all the beard oils because I'm like, okay, I just know I got tons of it. But last time I looked, I think I had 95. So I know I'm probably creeping around 120 now, easily.
How many Dixons do you have?
I believe I have 97. Yeah.
Whoa.
I went down the rabbit hole, and I just, yeah.
That's
wow.
Down the rabbit hole.
Right. Yep.
That makes me feel better. I think I have 30 Dixon flannels.
Yep.
But I also have like a lot of Dixon shirts like this one.
Sure.
It's like a kind of like a work shirt.
Yep.
I don't count these.
I went down the flannel thing, and then I'm like, oh, look at that. They make party shirts. They make bamboo shirts too.
Yeah.
I bought those. And then the next thing you know, I found a company called Retro Rifle. I'm like, look at that. They put guns on their stuff, and it's cool.
Yeah.
And I bought those. And then it was Tactical Santa. You got all these cool shirts, and you got these flannels and that, but what's up with your sneaker game? So guess what happened? Then I started getting into the Jordans and all that. And then Chief and Santa Tom, because we have our thing, they got me into the Boston Scally hats, right? So now I'm like, man, like I need another addiction, right? Like I've got too many, So I blame Chief and Santa Tom on that part.
Wow.
Yep. It used to be Tactical Santa had a bad addiction with firearms, right? Always buying firearms. I haven't bought a firearm in probably a year and a half now. Yep.
How many of those do you have?
Quite a few. I've got I'm a Glock guy, so I run a lot of Glocks. I've got a lot of Glocks. I've also got I've got like 6 short barrel rifles, some tack stamp stuff. I've got 5 or 6 suppressors, plus I got 4 more on the way. They're in suppressor jail. So I've got a couple regular length AR-15. So, and I've got a couple shotguns and stuff. So yeah, I've got some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually leaned down because before COVID, working at a gun store is kind of like working at a candy shop, right? So every time a gun would come in, and if you ever go to a gun store and you don't want to buy anything, don't let the clerk put a gun in your hand, right? That's the trick, right? So imagine you're working there and you're like, ooh, look at this, new gun came in. And you get to feel it first, right? And you're like, oh, I gotta have it, right? And next thing I know, I remember I was in the safe one day. My safe, because the guy asked me, he goes, how many handguns do you have? I'm like, I don't know. I went home that night and counted. I had 35 handguns, right? And I could tell you exactly why I bought every single handgun. I can tell you how I justified it, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, I don't need 35 handguns. I mean, so COVID happened and everybody got kind of crazy because they couldn't find guns. It was kind of hard. And I remember sitting there and I had people calling me like, hey, I'm looking for this. I'm like, you want one of those? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, I got one. You want to buy it? Okay. So I ended up selling probably like 20,
Oh,
20,
wow.
25 guns during COVID just because nobody was getting them in the stores. The
Right.
stores couldn't get them. And I'm like, I got all this stuff sitting, okay, you want to buy one? I remember a buddy of mine, he came into my cookie dough bar and he's all pissed off, right? And I'm like, dude, what's going on? He goes, man, this gun I'm looking for, I can't find. I'm like, what gun are you looking for? And he goes, they're not going to make it for another 8 months. I can't find it, and he's getting mad that I'm asking him, I'm like, no, which one are you looking for? He goes, I'm looking for a SIG P226 Legion. And I'm like, just smiled at him. He goes, you have one. I'm like, I do. And before I could say anything, he goes, man, I'll give you 1,500 for it right now. I'm like, stay here. I'll be back. I went home, grabbed it. There we go, So, but I streamlined. I got rid of a lot of stuff. I used to have a lot of pretty guns, as we would call them, and I'm sure you've heard people call them barbecue guns, right? Pretty guns. I had some really nice barbecue guns, and I was like, these things are just sitting. I can sell them and buy some stuff that I truly would use, and train with. So I got rid of a lot of my cool, pretty stuff, but a
Yeah.
lot of regular stuff too. Yep. Yep.
The bearded zebra wants to know how many pins do you have? Like the pins that go for the Scully hats?
You know, I just ordered my first 3 today.
Oh.
I just ordered. Yeah, I just ordered. Yeah, Then there's the thing, right? You get into the Skelly caps, right? And then everybody's like, "Well, what about the pins?" And I'm like, "What do you mean the pins?" They're like, "Oh, the pins." And I'm like, "Oh man, now you're like, wow, yeah, it's just down the rabbit hole, right?" But yeah, 3 of them today I ordered up. So, yep.
Kevin Amber's husband, he's a Glock guy. John
Mhm.
Fox is Smith and Wesson for him.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I have one Glock. I want it,
Mhm. Right.
but it's chambered in the 357 Sig,
Right. Um,
and
you
that's
can
kind
you
of they're hard to get. They're expensive.
Yep. So you can actually, with that, you can solve your problem because what you can do, you should be able to get from KKM Precision or a couple other companies a conversion barrel. You can get a 9mm
Yeah,
conversion barrel for that and run 9mm mags, and you'll be all set. I know a lot of
yeah,
guys have done that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking at Lone Wolf
Hmm.
last year for Christmas, and that was one of the things I asked for. And my wife looked; they didn't have any.
Sure.
The Glock store they had them,
Yep.
but yeah, KK
Right.
Precision.
KKM, or look at I don't know. I believe Faxon might make one too. It's been a while since I've looked for conversion barrels, but there's a lot of companies making them.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep. But yeah,
yeah, I thought about doing that.
I'm one of those guys where like Glock just fits my hand. I don't know why. I used to get teased at the gun store. Everybody like, you just got the Glock hand because when the older generations had the finger grooves in them, my hand fit the finger grooves perfect. So like, well, you're a
Yeah,
Glock guy, But I tell people that come to my classes like, well, what should I run? I'm like, whatever you like, whatever fits your hand, whatever you shoot well, that's what you shoot. Don't let anybody talk you out of that. If you're a Smith guy, you're a Smith guy. If you're a CZ guy, whatever. It's got to work for you. It doesn't have to work for me. So
what do you? Are you familiar with the Canics at all?
I am. Yep.
And
Hmm.
what's your thoughts on them?
So the Canics are really pretty cool. They're a Turkish gun. They're made in Turkey. They're they're a lot of. It's almost like a Walther clone in a lot of ways. The trigger is like a Walther trigger. They make really good triggers. The only thing that I've heard, I don't have a lot of experience with shooting them. I haven't taken one and torture tested it, but some gunsmiths that I know that really have, the only complaint they have about them is the longevity of them. They say that They're nice, but they're not. You're not going to shoot the heck out of them like you would a Smith or a Glock. You're gonna run into issues with them, falling apart. Uh, so but like I said, that's not firsthand for me. I haven't bought one. I haven't went out and torture tested one, but just what I've been hearing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I for their price point,
Hmm.
I everybody says
Sure.
they got the good trigger, and I'm
Sure.
really well. What I was looking at, I was looking at getting a P365X macro.
Sure.
I need to get a new carry gun because right
Sure.
now what I have is a Kimber Ultra Carry 45.
Right. Right.
And it doesn't have the capacity, you know.
Sure. Sure.
So I was looking at the X macro,
Hmm.
and I was looking at the Springfield Hellcat Pro
Sure.
because I don't like the micro nines that I can't get my pinky on.
Sure.
I gotta get the good grip.
Sure.
And I looked at the Canic MC9,
Hmm.
but I couldn't get my pinky on it.
Sure.
They have just released just within this
Longer.
week. Yeah, they got the
Right.
MC9L and the
Sure.
MC9LS,
Sure.
and I'm really thinking about one of them.
Sure. You know, I tell everybody too, if you're looking at a new gun or something like that, find somewhere that gun range that does rentals and go shoot
Yeah,
one before you buy it. Because I've put a lot of guns in my hands working at the gun store. Where I'm like, wow, this is really nice. And I go out and shoot it. I'm like, yeah, not for me. So
yeah,
definitely try before you buy, especially when it comes
yep.
to that stuff, But
Yeah, especially like getting the X Macro, they're almost $700.
sure, sure. Yep.
That ain't pocket change for me anyway.
No, nope, nope. Yeah, I know you're getting all this stuff now. I mean, I remember when I first started working at the gun store, you could pick up a Glock for $400, a box
Yeah,
of 50 rounds of 9mm, FMJ. I think my cost was like $7 a box. I could go shoot all the time. It didn't matter. Now I'm like, yeah, my cost is $15 a box. I'm like, yeah, no, like I can't go shoot as much as I used to, but you got to keep practicing, but everything's went up.
yeah. What caliber do you prefer?
So when I first started off, when I went to bodyguard school, that was in the era before they had redesigned 9mm ammo. So I was a 40 cal guy for a long time. I used to
Okay.
carry my daily carry was a Glock 35, which was the long slide 40 cal. I used to conceal carry that every day. That was what I used to carry when I was on the job. Uh, I liked it, but after you shoot 40 cal for a long time, it starting to hurt your wrist. You can actually get minute fractures in your wrist. And I was like, man, this is, I just getting tired of shooting it. And they had redesigned the 9mm. And I remember I borrowed a buddy of mine's Glock 17. And he goes, come on, shoot this 9. I'm like, all right. I went out and shot it. And it was crazy because how fast you can do follow-up shots with a 9 compared to a 40 cal, because a 40 cal you got that snap, so you really gotta push down. Where that 9, I'm like sitting there, I'm like pop, 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 like there's like no recoil compared to a 40, and I was like, just this is it, I'm switching. I switched over to 9mm, and that's what I run. I do have 145 in my collection. I do have an FNX tactical, a 45 tactical. That gun is amazing. I love that gun. It's a little big. I mean, I have carried it concealed, but 45 is a little heavy and it does cost a lot more than 9. So I tend to shoot my
Yeah,
9s a lot more. But yeah, I'm a big fan of 9mm. Yep.
yeah. I mean, I like the idea of that 357 SIG
Mm-hmm.
round,
Yep.
but it's just, and
Yeah.
I have another gun that
Mm-hmm.
is ridiculous if I can find ammo.
Right.
I got a Ruger Super Red Hawk chambered in the 480 Ruger.
Wow. Okay.
So
Yeah.
So when I got the gun, I got a box of ammo.
Sure.
If I'd have known, well, and that came out like right before Smith come out with their 500, you know.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
then now Smith's 500 is the big deal, and that
Right.
480 kind of got pushed
Right.
to the side. But I can't. I mean, if I can find ammo, it's
Sure.
like $87 for 20 rounds, you know.
Right. Yeah. It
And
gets expensive really quick.
if I'd have known then what I know now, I'd have bought more than just
Right.
one box.
Right.
But
Right. So see that's why I got into beer products, because beer products, man, it's cheaper than buying ammo every day.
yeah,
You know. But it's kind of cool though. Like meeting all the guys in the bearded community. Like that's what was crazy. I don't know if you guys. I don't. Yeah, none of you guys went to the Buckeye Beer Battle, right, in Ohio that the Hemplers were put on. No, I'll tell you what.
no,
That was my first experience meeting fellow beard guys. And what an awesome brotherhood it is, right? Because like everybody's just so cool. It's a brotherhood. It's like instant. Like um, guys that I talked online with, or on Facebook with for just a little while. You meet them in person. It's like you've known them all their life. Like just what a great awesome brotherhood that the beard brotherhood is. It's awesome. Yep. I was crazy too because like I when I went down there, like I couldn't believe that people actually knew who Tactical Santa was. They're like, oh my gosh, you're Tactical Santa. We see you. I'm like, holy crap. Like yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool now.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go to gun stores, different gun stores, and people are like, hey, you're Tactical Santa, aren't you? I'm like, holy crap, somebody recognized me. I don't know if it's just because they're like, oh, there's a bearded guy, that's got to be him. But I'm like, man, I get recognized now, so it's kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah, and then I mean, I'm an ambassador for Florida Boys, so I mean, I was doing a lot of reels, doing a lot of review videos for them too. So people were seeing my face doing that. And it's I sit there and people are like, well, Tactical Santa, where's all the shooting videos? I'm like, well, here's the problem, right? A lot of times when I'm at work, I don't have anybody that can run the camera. So I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's going to try to take selfies and shoot, So I do have a lot more beard product videos than actual out shooting and doing stuff. But that will change soon. We're going to start making more content. My other two partners and I, we're going to start making a lot more content, getting it out there. We've all been so busy, we get pulled in different directions, and it's like, yeah, we just got to get together and start making content. Plus the other thing is Facebook sometimes is really weird with what they allow on there. Like
yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
had a yellow fake gun, and I actually did a video that was the 4 rules of firearm safety, right? And I put it up, and 5 minutes later, Facebook took it down, said it violated terms, and I'm like, it's a fake. I call it the banana gun.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
fake, and I'm preaching safety here, give them the 4 rules, and they took it down. But yet, I'll put a video up of me, rapid firing at a range with a suppressor on, and they're good with that. So I don't know. Sometimes it's really crazy. I don't know what they look for and why they pick certain things. So it's we gotta start looking at content, going, what can I put up, what can I put up, so I gotta figure that out still.
Yeah.
Yep. But
now back to the USSCA or USCCA.
Mhm.
I've I get on YouTube a lot,
Sure.
and watch a lot of
Mhm.
guns stuff. Is there starting to be some controversy with them not
Sure.
doing what they're supposed to be doing?
So the one that I know of that got a lot of attention. So what happened was a guy was involved in an incident. He made the call. The USCCA was like, okay, no problem. They bailed him out. Okay, they got him out. This guy, what he did was he was sick and tired of people calling him. So he turned his phone off. turned it completely off, right? That was the only number USCCA had to get a hold of him. So everybody's trying to say USCCA didn't cover him. They were trying to, and then he went with a court-appointed attorney. Now, the court-appointed attorney that he got was actually working pro bono, doing the thing that they have to do, all lawyers have to do. That was actually their number one rated attorney in that state for USCCA. So he got lucky. He got who they would have sent him anyway. But he actually came out and talked about it. He's like, listen, it wasn't on them. I turned my phone off, I don't know all the ins and outs of it.
Is that the one that was driving for DoorDash or whatever? Is it that guy?
I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because there was another incident where they dropped a lady. What happened was that they bailed her out. She had actually, the reason they dropped her is she had actually on social media and on her text messages was talking to her friends about plotting to kill her husband.
Oh,
It was or something. So it was premeditated, and she was trying to say that it was a self-defense, and it wasn't. So they dropped her. But I mean, I can only tell you, I'm not in. I'm just like you. I'm not on the inside loop with them either. You know what I mean? I just go by what I hear. I do have some people that are a little bit higher up than me that have told me some information, but I don't know all the ins and outs. I mean, everything that I've heard, they usually do a really good job. But it's like I tell everybody, I'd rather have some sort of coverage than nothing. So yeah, and there's a couple other. You've got attorneys on retainer, I think, and there's Law Shield, and there's a couple other ones. And I always tell everybody, yeah, I'm an instructor and training counselor for USCCA, but do your due diligence, check them all out, see which one you like, and go with that. You know what I mean? So, but I'm sure all of them have little disclaimers, fine print. I tell everybody, read the fine print, because, they're going to have disclaimers on there. So just read the fine print. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's one thing, I tell everybody too, because most of you are veterans, aren't you? You guys are veterans. I know Brewer is.
Those two are.
Those two are. Yeah. I tell a lot of people too, because you'll see it on the civilian side more in the military. When I get guys that come to train that are military, usually they're very grounded when it comes to self-defense. They understand things. I usually have to spend a lot of time with civilians a lot of times where the first reaction is, well, if this guy comes in my house, I'm going to shoot him. I'm like, no, stop, because they're just so amped up on I'm going to shoot. I'm like, no. Tool of last resort. That's tool of last resort, not first resort. So, and then I tell people, I'm like, man, you got to understand it's very serious. And like, here's the other thing, a lot of them don't understand this. Is I always get asked the situation. Well, what if you're out and about and an active shooter presents himself, right? And I always get the ones in class go, well, I'm gonna take him out. Okay, so let's put it this way: you never train because you're going to take this CPL class. You're going to fire your 50 rounds, and you're going to call it a day. You're never going to train. So all of a sudden, you're in this stressful environment. I mean, we're not shooting in a stressful environment today, but now you're in a stressful environment. You're going to have an adrenaline dump. You're not going to be thinking clearly. All of a sudden, you pull that firearm out, and there's one bad guy. You're going to think you shot 1 or 2 times, but you're going to shoot 15 times. And what you're going to do is maybe you hit the bad guy, but now you hit 13 innocent people. And what you just did was turn yourself into the active shooter. And then they kind of look at me. I'm like, listen, we shoot at like 10 feet today, and you had a hard time hitting target. All of a sudden, if you have to shoot at like, 50 feet, do you think this skill set's magically going to come to you? You don't practice. So I always try to preach to people, if you can't do it, don't risk it, because you're responsible for everything that comes out of that firearm, and sometimes it's like pulling teeth with people, but finally the light bulb will go off and they'll be like, oh, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of responsibility when you carry a firearm. It's not something to be taken lightly,
Well, and another thing is that people don't realize, you'll do anything to protect yourself or your family.
Sure.
But do you realize how hard it is to take someone's life?
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
could ruin your life, the
Sure.
rest of your life.
Sure. And it's
And
great that you brought that up because I get people are like, well, what if a guy walks in my house and he's stealing my TV? And I'm like, who cares? Let him walk off. I'm like, my TV's $500 brand new, right? Like I got homeowners insurance. That TV's like 10 years old. They'll give me more money. I'll get a better TV anyway. Let him go, And then
Right.
they kind of looked at me and I said, but beyond that, you have to live with the fact that you shot and took somebody's life over a $500 TV, like let it go,
And you can go to jail for that, even though that they're
Exactly.
entering your
Sure.
property, even
Right.
though if they're not posing a threat, like you really don't have a right to shoot them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's the hardest thing is getting people to understand that their best weapon is their mind. They got to use their brains, not, it's not the gun. It's right here. Use your brain, figure out what's going on first, and I tell everybody run, hide, fight. You should run, you should hide, and then fight. Fighting's the last thing you want to do, So, but
Yep.
yep. But you want to know what's cool? Speaking about beard stuff, Florida Boys is dropping some new stuff tomorrow. Did you hear about the stuff he's dropping?
Tell us all about it, Dino.
There we go. So I know you guys probably use balm. He's got liquid balm coming out tomorrow.
Liquid balm.
Liquid balm.
Wow.
Yeah. This
That's
stuff is
something.
awesome. Yeah.
Wow.
This stuff works awesome. He's got his wash and conditioner coming out tomorrow. His conditioner's on a different level. And he's got Swamp Circus. And I don't know if you guys have been following him or not, but he's no longer doing the bird blend. This is actually going to be the first scent where it's vegan. Yeah, it's no more bird blend. Yeah. So he's totally changing up. I've been using I actually got his last drop in the vegan and beard is soft. I was actually kind of afraid at first because I'm like, man, your bird blend's so awesome. It works great. And I started using that and no worries at all. It really works fantastic. So I was on the fence at first, but now it works good. So, good
As
stuff.
long as it works, that's all that matters.
Right, right.
We actually have Matt on the schedule.
Do you?
Finally.
Finally. Yeah.
We do. We do.
I remember sitting there. I'm like, dude, what is up? Get on that show. And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, so,
Mike met him like a year ago.
I met him last year, November.
I was trying to get him on the show a year before that.
Yeah, Scott had been trying before me, and then I met him in person down in Daytona Beach, and we've been talking ever since. And
yeah, right.
But we got our petition signed, and he's convinced.
Right. Awesome. Well,
Is that what did it?
Chief Bearded Chief and I have been kind of working him in because we did a bunch of lives with him because we're like, all right, let's get him going. So that way, I don't know if he's a little camera shy or not, but we got to break him in. That way he'll go on the show. So that's awesome news that he's coming
done
on.
lives before.
Right.
Yeah.
With Jays.
Jays.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, at least 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. Matt's a fun dude, man. I like talking to him. Man, he's another one where you can get on the phone with him, and the next thing you know, you're like 2.5 hours later. You're like, because you could just talk to him. He relates to everything, real down to earth. He's funny, man. It's like awesome.
Yeah. First time I ordered from him, he called me. We talked for like an hour.
Right. That's the cool thing about most of these small batch owners, right? Like I was blown away because I had ordered something from Florida Boys, and then I saw him on there, and I was like, oh, that's Matt Hill. He's the owner. I messaged him on Facebook Messenger, and I wasn't expecting him to message me back. I'm like, he's an owner. He's probably, man. Next thing you know, we're talking, and I've known him now for over a year, and we talk. Great guy, Mike Wiseman, TJ Bearded Squirrel's a nice guy.
Yeah.
Everybody I've met in the small batch stuff has always been awesome. They really care about their customers, but yeah,
we've had Mike on the show. We've had TJ on the show.
Right.
Chief, of course, all great guys.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. Chief and I, we do a thing on Monday nights where it's just kind of like an informal thing, and it cracks me up because he doesn't like. I don't know. Have you guys tried the Coke Zero Oreo pops? Have you
Yep.
tried those?
Yep.
I like them, right? Oh man, Chief hates them. He's like, he hates them.
But
He totally hates it.
Today,
don't-
my wife brought home the cookies, the Oreo Coke cookies, which
Yeah.
really
Right.
good.
He likes those.
Yeah.
He likes those. He does not
I
like
think the
the
Coke
pop.
actually tastes better than the cookie.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, look at this guy.
Oh, were your
Look at
ears
this
ringing?
guy.
We're just talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
ears must have been ringing.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yep. Yep. But you know, I know you guys have caught the show that Chief, myself, and Santa Tom do, and you know what's pretty cool about that too is I was kind of like on with Blinders. There was only a couple companies I was buying from, and now I'm buying from a lot of different small batch companies and buying some stuff and giving everybody a shot and trying them out, and it's been an awesome experience. You know,
You won't run out of companies, that's for sure.
right,
Oh.
right,
That's the problem.
right, right. You know,
In
and
fact, like this year, I've seen a lot more open. Like it just seems like more and more opening. Every couple of days, I get a thing on Instagram. Hey, we're opening our business, and
right,
you know,
Yeah.
right, right. You know, I started probably where a lot of people start because I didn't know anything about beard care, right? So I started growing the beard, and the first thing I'm like, man, why am I itchy? Like this is driving me crazy, right? And I did some research, you know, and I found like beard oil. I'm like, okay, what is this? And next thing you know, it starts popping up in my Facebook stream, right? So the first one that I saw was Fable. So I got into Fable first, you know, I
Oh.
ran them for a while, and then I was like, okay. And then the next one was I had found the BBU. I think it was the beer, yeah, the BBU page. And next thing you know, I was buying off the buy, sell, and trade page. I was buying Black Rebel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. So I was doing them for a while, and then I traded the guy that runs the BBU, Jason Dunning. He had some. It wasn't a trade I bought. He had some Florida Boys grooming stuff up for sale. I'm like, well, try these guys out. I got it in, and then the next thing you know, I was buying from Matt, and then Hemp Wizard. I bought some stuff from Bearded Squirrel, you know. So, but yeah, I started from Fable, you know, or I think a lot of people do just because they have so much money in advertising. You just see them all over the place.
All over the place.
Right. Right. Yep. Yep.
Making me shit. Yeah.
so we do have there was some questions earlier that I
Sure.
don't think we got to. Ken from Bayard. First, thanks for the order. And does your gun store website have a list of black fishing rods you sell?
Black fishing? No, we don't. We don't sell any fishing stuff at all. Yeah,
Okay.
no fishing stuff. Yep. In fact, we're in between FFLs, and we can't even sell guns at our gun store right now.
Oh,
Yeah, Biden had the zero tolerance. The ATF came in, saw that there was a couple paperwork errors that went back 9 years. They're like, well, we're not renewing you, so we're in the process of getting a new one. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
and Ray wants to see your strap. I don't know what that means, but
It's so it's a here we go. Here's my rig. That's what I wear every day. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep. That's a Glock Model 45 with a Trijicana RMR on top of it.
And I think Amber asked. I didn't star it, but I think she asked if the cookie dough place was still around.
Yep. So yeah, it is still around. We make all the cookie dough there. My mom actually came up with all the recipes. She makes the cookie dough there, and we use a. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this ice cream company. They're based out of Wisconsin, but they're called Chocolate Shop Ice Cream. So they're one of two. They're one of two super premium ice cream makers in the whole country. So we run their ice cream, and if you ever get a chance to try them, they are absolutely fantastic. They have I used to know this by heart. And I'm probably mixing up the numbers, but their milk fat percentage that they use in their ice cream is one of the highest. So it's very rich and creamy, and it's not overpoweringly sugared like a lot of ice cream is. And they don't inject their ice cream with a lot of air. So you're getting true ice cream like it was made back in the day. So it is absolutely fantastic. Yep.
So Ken says fish rod equals AR.
Ah, okay. That's new to me. That's new to me.
I wouldn't have guessed.
I wouldn't
I
have guessed that
figured-
either.
Yeah, I
Yep.
figured it meant something different than a fishing rod, but I had no idea
Right.
what. So
Right. Yeah.
well, Amber wants to know where the cookie dough shop is so that she could take a road trip.
Sure. It is in downtown Rochester, Michigan. Yep. It's about 20 to 25 miles north of Detroit. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Bearded Zebra, who do you talk to about throwing stars, axes, ninja stars, etc.?
So, Tactical Santa's kind of lucky because, like I have a bunch of different elves on my team. I like to call them Elf Team 6. So,
Nice.
every single elf has a different specialty, So whenever I need to groom up on my skills, I just go to the elf that has that skill set I
There you
need,
go.
and we go and we go train,
There you go. Nice.
Mhm.
What would you consider? I mean, there's all kind of schools of thoughts out there.
Sure.
But I just want your opinion.
Mhm.
For a home defense gun,
Sure.
what would you suggest, or what do you feel is the best home defense weapon?
So I know a lot of people, there's just a lot of schools of thought that say either an AR-15 or a shotgun. I'm not a fan of either for home defense. The reason why 5.56 can go through a lot of drywall and can go through rooms and accidentally hit people. Shotgun, the problem with shotgun is if your significant other has to pick it up and shoot it, you take her to the range one time and she shoots a 12 gauge shotgun, and that'll be it. They'll never go to that, and they'll never want to shoot again, usually, because they're shotguns are not fun to shoot,
Yeah.
I really tell people one of my favorites for home defense is getting yourself a pistol caliber carbine, because it's going to be very easy to shoot. It's not going to over penetrate. You're not going to go through 3 or 4 rooms and hit somebody. Very easy to maneuver, and plus, with a handgun, you've got 2 points of contact. When you've got that PCC up, you've got 3 points. So that way, it's a lot steadier, easier if you have to use. But at the end of the day, it comes down to, do you train, right? If you're not proficient with that firearm, it doesn't matter if it's a shotgun, AR, or PCC. If you're not proficient with it, it really doesn't matter at that point. But like I said, my choice is a PCC. I right now, one of my favorite is I got a SIG MPX 9mm PCC. It's an SBR, so it's a shorty, but I tell everybody PCC is a fantastic for home defense.
Okay. Good answer. I appreciate that.
No problem.
Can you see these messages we put up? Do you know?
I can't.
Oh, that's right. You're on the phone. I forget.
Yep. Sorry about that.
Amber's talking about she owns a 12 gun or 12 gauge, and it kicks like
Sure.
a mule. She said there's guys that have shot mine once and told me I'm more of a man than they are.
Right.
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Bearded Zebra said, nice. I've always thought of throwing stuff as an art and practice, and would take a lot of skill, especially those who can throw playing cards like Gambit from X-Men.
Right.
And Michael Rami, he says shotgun is just messy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't realize this too. So let's say you're in your house, right? And you guys have obviously shot shotguns and you've shot AR-15s, right? Think about this. You're going to be in your house. You're not going to have hearing protection on, right? And if you have to use a shotgun or AR-15, imagine how loud that's going to be. You're going to have some problems really quick. A lot of people don't think about that, right? Now, I'm not saying that a 9mm carbine isn't loud, but it's not as loud. It doesn't have that snap and that crack like an AR-15 does or a shotgun, So that's another thing. You're going to disorient yourself by that concussion with your ears, So that's something to think, because I don't know anybody that's going to be like, oh my God, there's a bad guy in my house. Let me go get my earplugs or let me throw on my hearing protection, So,
Jacob, he has an AR chambered in 9mm.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
Oh, good question, Chief.
Yeah.
You have a shower pew pew.
I don't have a shower pew pew. I do. So here's a funny story. Back in the day, when I was bodyguarding a lot and I was, whatever, I had guns in every room in my house at the time, and I had them hidden, right? And I remember the first time I used to hide a gun under one of my pillows in the bed, right? So I remember the first time I bring this lovely young lady over to my house that I'm dating for a while, and we get in my bed. The next thing I know, she's reaching out. She's like, "Oh!" I'm like, "Oh my God, stop! Don't touch! Don't move! Don't!" Because I'm like, So I used to have guns everywhere in the house. Now not so much. Usually, most of the time, I've got it on me when I'm in the house. It's not far from me, but yeah, I don't have a shower pew pew. Yeah, I know a lot of people do. I just don't. No, the other thing I've come to realize though is Tactical Santa has got the bulletproof beard. So all I got to do is go down like that. And I think that way it'll deflect the bullets, get me to my rifle or to my handgun.
And people can't see it, but you actually have one behind your beard.
Yes,
You've got a piece behind your beard that
it comes out. Yep. And besides, I've always got my elves protecting me. They've always got my back, and they're kind of sneaky ninja elves. So you never know they're hiding in the shadows. So I've got them. I've got them everywhere. Yep.
Ken from Bayard wants to know the cost of your classes.
Okay, so my CPL classes, my CPL classes are not actually my classes. I work at a gun store, so I actually am the instructor at that class. Those run $99. My advanced classes, my practical pistol 1, practical pistol 2, 3, and 4, those are all $200 a piece. But the benefit is, the reason why the cost is there is because we limit in those classes 6 students. That's it. We don't run big groups. So it's 6 students. We have 2 firing lines. That way there's not a lot of downtime. There's more one-on-one, and there's 3 instructors.
Oh, wow.
So it's one of those. And the class usually runs 4 to 5 hours. We usually 4 to 500 rounds. Yeah, 4 to 500 rounds that we're going through that day. And we move and shoot. We're actually on the range. We don't sit in a bay. We move, shoot, work from the holster, and we do multiple targets. We do a lot of stuff in those classes. So it's really a really cool class to take.
Now, I mean, not to sound ignorant or not.
No.
What does CPL mean?
So in Michigan, a CPL means concealed pistol license. I know in a lot of states they call them CCWs. In Michigan, the reason Michigan changed the verbiage, believe it or not, you got to remember, we're close to Detroit, right? And a lot of weird things happen in Detroit. So years ago, Michigan used to call it a concealed carry weapon, right? CCW, carry a concealed weapon. Well, the problem was people were getting these, and next thing you know, they're running around with samurai swords, they're running around with baseball bats, concealed. I mean, they were running around with everything. So Michigan's like, yeah, no more. We're going to make it a concealed pistol license, so that way everybody knows all you can carry is a pistol. You can't be carrying around katanas and all sorts of crazy stuff. I mean, there was all sorts of weird stuff happening back in the day. So they had to change the verbiage of that.
Okay.
And Bearded Zebra says his grandmother slept with one under her pillow, not only for protection, but because of the copperheads, which in Kentucky love to make their way inside your trailers at any given moment.
Right. I don't like snakes, so I can understand that. Yep.
Brad Glacier wants to know, how long is your beard?
I haven't measured it. The best guess I have is maybe like 10-inch, maybe 8, 9, 10-inch. I don't know. What do you think, Brewer?
I'm thinking you're probably close to 12.
Close to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I know Chief has said that too, because I was messing with Chief because at the Buckeye Beard Battle, I didn't enter the beard battle. He's like, you should have done it, because he took first place. I'm like, don't worry, man. Next year I'm coming for you. I'm coming. I'm coming to take you on. So we'll see.
Make it to that one next year.
Yeah, it's a
Every
fun
year
time.
I say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I should have made it this year.
If you guys make it down there, because I drive there. I don't fly, right? Maybe I'll bring some of my toys down, and maybe we'll go to a range and we'll go shoot, man. We'll go make some
great.
content. We'll go have some fun.
That'd be
That'd
great.
be awesome.
Yeah.
Matt wants to know, Florida boys, Matt,
hmm
how many people have you trained since you've been an instructor?
My best guess, let me see here. Best guess. I know like last year, just in CPL classes, I taught 250 students last year just in CPL. In my whole career, I've probably taught close to 2,000 students. Probably. Yep.
Amber, you don't. There's different lengths. There's categories for each length, and Kev's got a great beard. At the length that he has,
Very, very dense.
Yeah, like I would actually keep it that length for competition. Now, if he wants to grow it out, absolutely. But for competition, he's got a great beard.
Yeah, he does. It's very thick. It's which in a lot of competitions scores very well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But also, I'm not sure if it's going to be in February, but up in Milwaukee, we will have a Flannel Palooza.
Nice.
Not sure when the date is, but
sure.
My buddies at Lit Beard Company put that on.
So interesting. Lit Beard Company, he's a USCCA instructor.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
Yeah, he's really cool. And you want to know it? I have not tried his stuff yet, and I need to. I need to put an order in with him, and I need to try it from him. And maybe the cool thing will be is USCCA is based out of Wisconsin.
West Bend.
West Bend. I used to have to drive there and go to instructor training. So maybe I'll swoop up for that Flannel Palooza if I can swing the time off. I'll come up and I'll come see you guys up there.
I'll have to ask him when he's planning that on.
Right.
I know it was February this past year.
Yeah. It's not too far for me. I mean, it's like 6-hour drive at the most. Maybe
I went to a beard competition in Michigan, not the Great American, but the there's this Sasquatch one.
Okay. Yep.
At the Eastern Michigan Fairgrounds.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yep. That was the first for me. I didn't even know there was such a thing as beard battles and beard competitions before I started talking to all you guys. I was like, really? There's beard comp? And like, yeah, no, it's a big thing. And I had no idea.
Yeah, you go to one, and mine was one of the big. My first one was one of the biggest ones, the Nationals.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Scott and I both did Nationals as our first beard comp.
Nice.
In Casper. So
nice.
And then it's like just grading them all to Nationals isn't really fair.
Right. I know Chief is planning on going to World in Pittsburgh, I believe, this coming summer. I told him, I said, you want to know what, man, maybe I'll join up with you. Maybe we'll just go, because I just want to go there just to meet more people and hang out with people.
Absolutely.
So I'm like,
Absolutely.
yeah, man, I'm down with that, you know. So I'm probably going to try to get there with Chief, you know, go support him, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not only that, but it's just raising money for charity,
Right.
and just meeting people and hanging out
Right.
with them. It's just so much fun. Like I met so many new people
Mhm.
in Minnesota this past weekend, and
Right.
you know, had breakfast with them outside the competition.
Right.
Just kind of like,
Right.
yeah,
That's a great thing is meeting like you know like-minded people. You know, everybody
Mhm.
that's like-minded, getting down. Because it's so different when you're talking on the internet with people or on Facebook Messenger where you can actually see them face to face and talk to them. That's just super cool when you can do that. You know.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Bayard put it in the chat. It's that beer competition I'm talking about. It's in Imlay City.
Imlay say, you know what? That's only like 25 miles away from me. So yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yep. Yep. You know, the good thing is winter coming up. My transportation's a lot better because I can just hop in the sleigh. You know, I got the flying reindeer, so I can, you know, I can take off. You know, so the reindeer don't like running when it's warm out. You know, when it's cold, that's you know they run a lot better. So got to get them in practice. You know.
Zebra's got one more question for you.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Do we get to have costumes for the live stream?"
Costumes for the live stream.
I don't know.
We're not going to stop you from wearing costumes.
But I just had an idea. You should get like a department store gig as Santa, but then show up as tactical Santa
Right.
with your
know.
elf and see
Right.
what happens, how that goes over.
That may not go over well.
Oh man. Yep. Oh boy. Yeah, I might get in some trouble, right?
Right.
I always, you know, that's the funny thing is, you know, like Santa Tom, like when we do our thing, Santa Tom's the good Santa, right? And I always tell everybody, I'm like, I'm tactical Santa, I'm the naughty Santa, you know, I'm the guy, you know, Santa Tom's a good one, I'm the naughty one, but you know, I would probably get in trouble, you know. Yep.
If a person would want to come take your advanced classes, you got
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, and 4. You said.
Yep.
But let's say they live far away, so they want
Sure.
to come in, maybe take a week's vacation. Can they do all
Sure.
4 classes?
So here would be my advice to somebody if you had the money where you could spend a week somewhere, and this is one of those things I get asked a lot of times, because I don't have a way to set it up to do that in a week, but
Okay.
I'm one of those guys that I know what I can do and what training I can do, but I tell people if you've got a week where you can spend to go train and you can swing it and you can swing the cost of it, go to the SIG Academy or go to Gunsight. The stuff that I can teach you is awesome, but I can't teach you 4 or 5 consistent days, right? If you can take
Okay.
that time off and go to an actual school where you can go 4 or 5 days where it's 8 hours a day, the amount of reps and the amount of attention you're going to get there. And, you know, I'm a great instructor, but those guys that are teaching at those academies are on a whole different level. One of my goals is to make it to one of those places and take their instructor. So, you know, come to me if you've got time, you know, take a class here, take a class there. But if you've got money and you can spend a week somewhere, go to one of the big schools and take that because you'll come out so fantastic out of those places, you know.
Now this is showing my age a little bit, but
Mhm.
is Thunder Ranch still a good?
So Thunder Ranch is really cool, but Clint Smith is not really teaching anymore. And in fact, Thunder Ranch, I believe it was last year, got sold. So
Okay.
Clint Smith is still involved, but from what I've heard, because Oregon has a lot of crazy, they've just enacted a lot of crazy firearm laws in Oregon. I guess whoever bought it, the plan is, you guys know about the big SHOT Show that happens in Vegas, right? The
Yeah.
big firearm show.
Yeah.
They have that really big range. It's like 15, 20 minutes away from the strip. They got that really big range where they do all the SHOT Show shooting. supposedly Thunder Ranch is going to start training there. So if they're not going to be in Oregon anymore, they're actually going to be in Las Vegas, from what I've heard. So that'll actually be really cool because you could fly in, because Vegas is easy to fly into, go take a class, do your thing. Because I know a lot of people were bitching about going out to Thunder Ranch because you get off the plane. I believe it's like a 4 or 5 hour car drive to get to Thunder Ranch. So this will make it a lot easier. And I think they got such an awesome facility down in Vegas too, where they run the SHOT Show. So it's fantastic range.
Have you been to SHOT Show?
I haven't. I want to get there. I've got some people that say, hey, because hey, we can get you in. Do you want to go this year? I don't think I want to go this year. I want to wait. I'm going to wait another year. That way I can get some money up, and then I can really figure out what I want to do, get my brand a little bit more out there.
Yeah.
But a guy that I know, he's actually a writer for Guns and Ammo. His name's James Tarr. He comes into the shop all the time, and he's a wealth of information because he's gone to all the big schools. He goes to all the manufacturer. He goes to SHOT Show all the time. So he's like got the inside line on everything. So I'm going to sit down with him and be like, all right, if I want to go next year, what should I be doing? What should I check out? Where should I go? So, I just want to make sure when I get down there, I know what I'm doing. And I'm not just like, hey, where am I going? What do I need to do? I get some advice before I go down there,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
True North says you have a great beard.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very cool. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Your brand, and because I've seen you around, and you've you've been hanging out with Chief, so I thought it'd be definitely a great idea to get you on the show, and definitely Santa Tom. We got to get him on. I know he's probably going to be busy.
Santa Tom's awesome.
Christmas season coming. I don't know if he does Santa stuff, so we may have to work around that, but definitely on our list as well.
Right.
You guys got the Three Amigos now.
Yes,
the Three Amigos show.
Mm-hmm.
But we're the original Three Amigos. Just remember.
Right. Well, what you got to remember about me is, I am the sleigh driving, flying reindeer riding, Glock carrying, mistletoe hanging, cookie eating, eggnog leaving, kiss stealing, son of a Claus. Woo!
That's a mouthful.
Got a little bit of Ric Flair at the end there.
Right. Because the tactical Santa order is for life, man. For life. Tactical Santa order.
Pretty cool. If nobody else has any further questions, we'll probably wind down the show. But we appreciate you coming on the show, Dino.
Thank you guys for having me on. And I'll tell you what, man, if there's ever anything that Tactical Santa can do for you guys, whether it be, supporting or trying to help, because I love doing charity work too. If there's anything I can ever do for you guys or any events, whatever, please let me know and I'll be there for you guys.
We may need you as a bodyguard for Worlds.
I can do that. You know what? I'll bring myself, and if you guys go onto my page and look at some of my older stuff, and you'll see my boy Aaron Cobb on there. I'll get him to come too. Nobody's going to be touching you guys. Don't worry.
I seen him. I thought it was The Rock. I mean, I didn't.
Right.
I was scrolling through your little pictures. I didn't click on it, but I thought it was The Rock. What? I can't remember the name of the term. Is it reciprocity? How do you pronounce that word?
Yes, reciprocity.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what? I mean, because I know Detroit is kind of tough on guns.
No, so the state law supersedes any city law in Michigan. So the Michigan CPL is valid in the whole state, but Michigan has reciprocity with 40 other states, but a cool app if you guys ever want to get it, and it's free, is if you look it up, it's USCCA Reciprocity. And it's a cool app. It brings up the map. You put in where you have your carry license from. It'll bring up the map. It'll tell you where you can go, where you can't go, and plus it has links to every state's laws. So it's a pretty cool little app to have. So, yep.
Yeah, I looked up. Well, that was a little over a year ago when Scott got married, and the three of us were at a beard competition in Tennessee.
Right.
I did look them up. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Gotcha.
did
Gotcha.
look
Yeah.
them up.
Yeah. Right.
So
right.
I did carry mine down
Mhm.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Tennessee's got reciprocity. Yeah. You guys got a lot of that going on down there. Yep. Just don't get caught on one of the East Coast states. East Coast does not like firearms.
I'm in
No,
Wyoming. You can
Right.
carry a bunch of them on you. Doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
You can go anywhere.
Right. Right.
Wyoming's probably got the loosest laws in the nation.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Well,
So the-
Texas is pretty good too. Texas is a good state.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
West
You know,
Virginia, they're a good state.
The only thing I ever have to worry about is all my, SEAL Team 6 elves, Elf Team 6. I get, sometimes I get in trouble with them, but firearms, I'm
Yeah.
okay. But, the elves get me in trouble sometimes,
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
They're ninja stars.
Yep. Nunchucks, ninja stars, all that good stuff. It's hard. It's hard to keep them in line. You know what I mean? They're always getting into trouble,
Zebra, I saw your message. We'll have to reach out and get you on the schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As a return guest, I believe they've been on the show, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
before I
you're
was on the
one
show.
of the early guests on
Early,
the
one of the OGs. Yeah. Yeah, South Dakota, I bet, as well, have
Yeah,
relocked.
South and North.
Mhm.
South and North. I just seen a video today. What's funny? It was like the top 10 favorable states for firearms. North and South Dakota was on there.
Right.
Texas, West Virginia, and I forget some of the other ones, but
California was probably the number one, right? I mean, Kamala had a Glock.
yeah, yeah.
It's got to be, number one. Yep.
I'm still not sure about that.
Well, when you come from a middle class family, you got to be carrying Glocks all the time. So,
Well, yes, but when the last election, when she was vice president, she didn't have a gun.
Right.
That's why I'm like, I don't know, but
Right.
we try not to be political on here.
Right. Yep.
So next week we have another Michigan on the show. We've had quite a bit of Michigan lately.
Yep.
But Wicked Wednesday is our guest next week, Thursday.
That's awesome. I just bought soap from her. She's awesome.
She is. She is very talented at her soap making. That is for sure.
Yep.
But yeah.
Cool. But thanks everyone for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure talking to you. I could probably get on the phone and talk to you for a couple hours myself too.
Jason could definitely. This is Jason's lane right here.
Just message me, man. Just message me, and we can talk anytime you want, man.
Yeah.
But check us out next Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Respect the journey.
Good night, everybody. Have a good Friday.
Good night.